Caves isn't bad. In fact, every single map released so far has been of quality and has multiple things I like about them. But why is Caves at the bottom? Simply put, it's just not as good as the other map. This isn't even a blight towards Caves in the slightest. I love multiple things about this map. The attention to detail with each crystal producing its own sound. The great song produced by Sunshine and Dave Anderson Kirk. And the burrowing mines beneath really enhance the world building and presentation of Gorilla Tag as a whole. It's genuinely scary to play in mines by yourself as the ambience creates a feeling of being alone and sets a great amount of unease. The biggest thing that Cave falls flat on is primarily its gameplay. With how it's presented, you're encouraged to want to go on the crystals with a sort of floors lava-like approach, where if you fall off you're most likely going to get tagged. This is due to the lack of ground mobility and how the easiest way to get on most crystals is climbing from their initial starting point on the ground. This is further proven through the mine section, serving as a means to give players a way to escape the impending doom of the lava. Despite all the praises I have for it on a visual front, it is extremely narrow and almost never used in a traditional tag game. You almost start to forget the mines are even there. When the mines are used, it greatly affects match pacing, as everyone is way more focused on what's happening on the surface, meaning that in most games if you try, you can definitely be the last alive every round.
Yeah, haha.
Flow is an extremely important part of Gorilla Tag for me. But what is flow? One of the greatest strengths of this game, especially when you develop a broader understanding of the advanced mechanic, is the means of going wherever you want and never really stopping. It's a natural blend of constantly shifting vertical and horizontal movement. Creativity in your movement is a huge part of Gorilla Tag's identity. Caves, in my opinion, easily has the weakest sense of flow in Gorilla Tag. Routing is very limited and how you're expected to play is super linear, which makes the map the most boring to play during long sessions. Caves gameplay shines great within user-created content. The crates and statues, which I have a video on by the way, minigame, are some of the most fun I've ever had playing this game. Hey, chill. I know it's a new map and that everyone likes it, but hear me out. This is where the list becomes incredibly hard for me. Like, I've gone back and forth with this in number 3 multiple times because I'm that uncertain. Mountains is the most casual tag map, and in many ways exactly what I want out of the future of Gorilla Tag. To preface, City is also a casual map, but it's not really built with tag in mind, so comparing the two on a gameplay front is not really fair as they're totally different things. The entire map reminds me of a forgotten height concept Lemming abandoned during the early development of Gorilla Tag. It had players running up a long hill to collect wood to bring back down to the bottom. It was planned to be a non-tag mode, and while this idea fizzled out, I believe remnants lie within this map. Mountains is designed around this imaginary diagonal line. You're either constantly going up this line or you're going down, but it's always a constant back and forth. Most of the time, in order to go down, you need to go up. Speaking of up, the biggest flaw in this map is easily the terrible fate of having to climb back up that giant hill. Now there are creative ways to break this gameplay cycle, such as climbing on the side of these wooden supports, walking on the snowpath at the edges of the ice, climbing these trees, jumping on the slide, and many more. So while the map follows this line, it doesn't necessarily mean that your fun is controlled by it. And I think that's what I like the most about this map. You definitely do not need to understand Gorilla Tag to go down a slide, although you might need a bit of a stomach for it. In terms of map presentation, the concept of a winter amusement park is super cool and unique. The slides, ice, and ramp are so naturally fun to use, and I'm surprised more games don't have this random stuff in it. It adds so much charm and replayability to the game. I also love how the rain update added falling snow, and this is probably the best map to benefit from the shifting day and night cycle. The only real major flaw I have for this map is that it does get a bit repetitive at times. I believe Mountains benefits more on the casual queue, as tag can sometimes hit a drastic stalemate, and going up and down constantly just to chase one guy can get exhausting very quickly. In the far-out wasteland of Gorilla Tag's ever-evolving world lies the Barren Canyon, Gorilla Tag's third officially released map, and is coincidentally the third map on this list. Sprawling with cacti, this thing, I'm just gonna call it Desert Grad, and the strangely unanswered for wall home. Who and what exactly lives in these anyway? When you first look at the environment of Canyon, the first thing that comes to mind is, well, Breaking Bad. I mean, more so like Arizona, the Grand Canyon, Breaking Bad, alongside the accompanying atmospheric music that's an ambient tone that is borderline eerie at times. Canyon on its best day proves exactly why gorrila tag took over the VR world. Juking other players feels incredibly satisfying, and it feels like the locomotion was made with this map in mind. While the bottom layer of caves became a problem due to how disconnected it felt from the rest of the map, Canyon strides because there is something always going on here, and all the way down here. It never feels like players are having to make an effort to look for somebody because everything is so open and every layer is always occupied by somebody.
But Majora, the difficulty spike, the map is so hard!
Good point. gorrila tag's biggest strength is in its accessibility, and Canyon, on its worst day, is a frustrating map to play for newcomers. But why is that? To answer that question, let's first make a list for what I would consider to be the hardest maps in gorrila tag. FYI, Forest would easily be the hardest map if you're accounting for all skill levels, because if you're good in Forest, you typically never are going to get tagged by novice players. So yeah. Here it is. Now you're probably saying,
What the fuck? How can you just put a map here, you You're nothing, you're so stupid, you dumb
well, hold on, let's break it down. Starting off first, caves are essentially dictated by the crystals themselves, and you don't really need to be good or even have knowledge of the game to use them to their fullest potential. The city is more of a hub map with minor platforming and wasn't really designed for tag in mind. Mountains is pretty darn basic, but I think that serves to the map's strength. Forest is a bit of a combination of all the maps, but we'll get into that in a bit. And then you can see Canyon at the very top. Canyon simply requires patience and dedication from your average casual player. You need to understand how to wall climb, in some instances, wall run, and you need to know how to control your character properly so you don't fall into the crevices. To some people this is a flaw, but I personally like that a map can exist that simply does not cater to every type of player. It makes it stand out, and variety is what allows tag to not get boring over the duration of a play session. You should be rewarded for learning the game and mastering its mechanics. When I was starting out months ago, I would not go near Canyon because I got frustrated with how difficult everything was. But when I started playing more and more, I got a good sense of everything, and it quickly shot up to be one of the most fun maps in the game for me. I have all these praises towards Canyon, yet why is it ranked number 3? It's simply because at this point, it's just entirely personal preference. I don't know what else to say other than I gravitate more to the other two on the list. Whether it's presentation, or it expands the gameplay into something better, this isn't a fault of Canyon, just a testament to how good the other maps are.
I thought the hardest part would be accepting that I fell from the show. But now that I know why, it's been getting easier to let go of all the wasted years, the wasted tears. That's how when I was trying to figure out what all the distance meant, the sentiment all gone. Well, how do I take your word well over his? Yeah, how do I take it for less than it is? Tore down the walls, try my best to let you in. Yeah, how was I supposed to know what you hid? What you had, yeah, no. Shouldn't get jealous, but the collar with the hard eyes. It gets me hellish, trying to look at it through my eyes. The thought of you and leaving staring at my insides.
City is a vibe. I admit it, this is 100% personal bias on my end. Most people argue that City isn't even a real map, and I kind of agree. It mounted as the most casual tag map, then City is the most, well, casual G-tag map. I sort of view it as a loosely connected hub area, the Peach's Castle of gorrila tag, dare I say. It's a place to socialize, go shopping, or to just take a break from the high energy action of tag. Or hunt, I haven't forgotten about you. Every couple of weeks the shop updates to mix up the cosmetics for the seasons, and they're always accompanied by these really cute themed signs that Lemming drew. As a matter of fact, I love the attention to detail, like the second floor being inaccessible unless you go through this broken window and further investigate. As you investigate, you find the golden mask as a purchasable item. Little things like this and how trash the obstacle area is are such little details that really makes me happy to play this game and remind me time and time again just how much Lemming truly cares about what he's making. While on the subject, the obstacle course to unlock competitive queue is a neat idea, but I think it could be a little harder to really separate the queues properly. I also strongly believe that there should be an option to play Infection in pubs, especially since it's one of the more popular maps for user-created game modes. With the arrival of the minigames queue, I figured it'd be on by default, but I'm crossing my fingers that it'll get added in a future update. City has easily the most nailed visual aesthetic. The neon signs pop out with so much color, and the pouring city backdrop is so comforting. I've legit just spent hours looking through the window at the buildings and just being enamored at how impressive the game could be at times. I have a great appreciation for the dedication towards fleshing out gorrila tag's world building through this map. The subtle branding for the monkey shop does a great job in capturing players' imagination of this world, and the monkey heads in the outskirts raise questions of the community that remain unanswered till this day. Yes, everyone expected it, and here it is. Forest unanimously won my YouTube, Discord, and in-game poll.
What are your favorite Gorilla
Listen,
maps?
this map, because
The forest.
this one, the trees are really fun to just like branch on. I would probably say it's the forest map.
Favorite Gorilla map?
Forest.
Really, bro? Really?
Forest is the culmination of the strengths of each map shoved into one, which is pretty ironic because Forest was the map that launched for gorrila tag. Visuals, check. I mean, it changes pretty drastically each season, winter, fall, and the dynamic lighting and rain means it'll always be a visual standout. Gameplay, check. Social area, check. Although I can't really say it's positive all the time.
You're crying in pain at your dad, that's you bitch.
Lore, check. Nothing shows gorrila tag's strength as a game more than Forest, and it does it in stride. I mentioned flow during the cave section of this video, and to give you an example, picture this. You're presented with this in caves. Where do you go? You can go left, right, or you can go down the middle, but not really any creativity on where you can go here. Let's take another turn and look at this angle in Forest. You can go... It's all just one giant movement playground. There's so many ways to play in Forest with the community creating so many interesting advanced mechanics. There is, but not limited to, Lucio running, hospital flipping, branching, slippery wall running, pinch climbing, bear climbing, and probably a lot more that I'm missing. With so many things to do, it's easy to create a divide between the casual and hardcore crowd. After all, this is the first map you fall into after the game's tutorial. I think Lemmy acknowledged this as well with the creation of the competitive queue and stalling games being a reportable offense. With gorrila tag becoming more popular and more competitive, I think it's becoming a growing problem. My solution would be an incorporation of an MMR type system, which funnily enough, Lemon has also considered in the past. Now, it would be harder to implement because it is tag after all. It doesn't have advanced internal metrics like League of Legends or Valorant to track a player's true skill. But metrics like how long you go on tag for or how many people you can tag can add to an invisible counter that acts as your global skill. Obviously, the implementation would be really tricky because of how toxic the fanbase can get sometimes. I don't see it being received so well. And that's it. All the gorrila tag maps rank worst to best. If you disagree with me, let me know down in the comments, and if you want to see more videos like this, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. This video took a long time to make, but I think if I make another one of these, it won't take as long. Also, join my Discord, link in the description.